welcome to another episode of the Book Club. Today we will be talking about the international bestseller Oleander, written by Janet Fitch, a US author living in LA.
The book was first published in 1999 and since then sold over 1 million times. The novel tells the story of the girl Astrid, who is getting separate from her mother and placed in different foster families. The book describes the different phases Astrid is going through in her life.
To get a little closer to the book and its plot, we are now going to give you a summary. To visualize the characters better, we gave the most important ones a face. For some of the characters we took the faces out of the movie, but for other ones who were not mentioned in the movie or who were not fitting our imaginations to the characters, we took better fitting ones. Astrid's mother Ingrid is the most important person in her life. She admires her so much that she feels unimportant, small and useless compared to her. Ingrid is the center of her life. Everything she says is like a law, and Astrid would never contradict a thing that she says. She obeys completely and never puts her needs over the ones of her mother, because her mother has a lot of power thanks to her beauty. For Ingrid, her beauty and her poetry are the most important things in the world, because with them she feels like as if she could do anything that she likes. Another thing that Ingrid enjoys are her young lovers who adore her, but she would never let one of them stay the night. When the strange goat man Barry, so does Ingrid call him, who is actually not her type at all, comes into her life, it turns her world upside down, so that she even starts to break her own rules. Astrid is really happy at first to have someone in her life that plays the father role, but as Barry leaves her mother for another, younger woman, Astrid can tell that something bad is going to happen. Of course, Ingrid, with her behavior of a queen, can't just let him do that without any consequences, because that's not what she's used to. At this point, Ingrid turns completely crazy and decides to end Barry's life by poisoning him with the liquid of her favorite flower, the white oleander. The police find out what Ingrid has done and take her to prison, whereupon Astrid is alone until the foster care lady takes her to a foster family, where she has to live from now on. Astrid gets introduced to her new foster family, which consists of her foster mother, Star, her boyfriend Ray, and 3 children. Star seems to be really nice. She strongly believes in God, although her lifestyle doesn't really reflect this, because she's a dry alcoholic, ex-drug addict, and the way she dresses is pretty cheap. Also, the choice of her boyfriend is a little special, because Ray, a hippie rocker carpenter in his early 50s, does not at all believe in God. He actually even thinks that Star's whole God thing is pretty silly. Star helps Astrid to find strength in God as well. God now takes over the role of Ingrid, who was before the center of Astrid's life. Ingrid starts losing on importance. With Star, Astrid also discovers her female side and her beauty, which have before always been in the shadow of her mother's. Star is the one to buy Astrid her first bras and dresses, which reveal a whole new feeling in Astrid. For the first time in Astrid's life, she feels that she has also some power and attractiveness. This feeling starts to get even more intense through the admiration from her foster father Ray. Astrid likes the newborn power and wants to take advantage of it so much that she doesn't know where her limits are anymore. She can't even make the difference between Ray's father role and his sexual attractiveness and starts seducing him, what ends up in a love affair. At this time, God's importance in Astrid's life is decreasing, because now she values her own needs, especially physical love and sexual satisfaction, more than she values the needs of anyone else. Ingrid, with whom Astrid corresponds a lot, does not at all support Astrid's new behavior. She doesn't like how much the foster family changes her and her life. Above all, Ingrid doesn't like that Astrid no more listens to her, because that makes her feel like she's losing power. Also, when Astrid comes to visit her in prison and wants to show her how she has grown up, Ingrid reacts very negative about it. Star starts to have a bad feeling about Ray due to the lack of attention she is getting from him. Her doubts about their relationship and also about herself get so bad that she starts drinking again, what causes a lot of fights in the family. One evening, Star finds out about Ray and Astrid, what makes her freak out completely. Driven by her anger, she takes a gun and shoots Astrid. Astrid almost bleeds to death, but one of the other children can save her life by calling the ambulance. When Astrid is in hospital, nobody comes to look after her, and she never sees any of the foster family members again. Astrid sometimes wonders about Ray because he was the first man that she had loved. After Astrid gets out of the hospital, she gets put into another foster family consisting of the parents Marvel and Dad Sherlock and their 2 children. Astrid feels like she's in a normal family for the first time in her life, although she knows that the Sherlocks only keep her as an unpaid babysitter for their 2 kids. Astrid is feeling very depressed. She misses Ray. To escape the sad reality, she abuses the meditational drugs she is getting from the hospital. She is also craving compassion at this time and always overdoes the limping of her injury for this purpose. Astrid admires the black neighbor Olivia, who is a prostitute, even though, or maybe exactly because of the fact that the contact with Olivia is a total no-go for her racist foster mom. Astrid starts visiting Olivia and they get really close. Astrid admires Olivia for her beauty, wealth and lifestyle. Olivia shows Astrid the high society life and buys her expensive things when they go shopping. With Olivia, Astrid also starts drinking and smoking weed. She is again discovering her beauty, but in the way Olivia shows her. She stops limping and gets self-confident, because she knows that she is powerful and discovers that she can bring men to do a lot for her when she gives them what they want. Due to the support that she gets from Olivia, Olivia is now very important in her life. But when she disappears for a while, Astrid is dashed to the ground. She thinks that without Olivia she can't live anymore and feels deserted. In the night of her 15th birthday, Astrid goes for a walk as she gets attacked by a group of dogs. The dogs almost bite her to death, but someone comes just in time to save her. In the hospital again, Astrid recovers from her wounds, but her body and especially her face are full of scars. Astrid sort of gives up in her life again, because due to her scars her beauty is gone. When Olivia returns, she first doesn't want to have any contact to her anymore, but the attractiveness Olivia has towards Astrid makes her visit Olivia on Christmas Eve. Olivia is shocked by Astrid's scars and hurt because Astrid blames her for what happened. Olivia shows Astrid, once again, that she is still beautiful, and then they get drunk and smoke weed together. Astrid stays the night, and in the morning, when she tries to sneak into the Sherlock's house again, she gets caught by her foster mom, Marvel. Marvel then kicks Astrid out of the house because she sees the contact to Olivia as a betrayal on the family. The foster care lady takes Astrid to the next best woman who is willing to look after her. This woman is called Amelia, a Hispanic lady with a big house and 5 other girls living in it. These other girls are not very welcoming towards Astrid, and they seem to have a bad attitude in general, because of their hatred towards Amelia. First, Astrid puts their behaving into question, because in front of her, Amelia pretends to be a nice and caring lady. But it doesn't take Astrid too long to find out why the girls act like they do. Amelia only provides them 1 meal a day, which is dinner. For the rest of the day, the girls have no chance to get any food, because Amelia keeps a lock on the fridge. Since they don't get any money from Amelia, there are also no possibilities to buy food of their own. Due to the lack of nutrition that the girls get, they almost starve. Astrid has to start fighting against her hunger, but as she realizes that she can't handle it, she starts eating leftover out of trash cans in her school to survive. Astrid is already known as the girl with the scars, but now she is getting even more bullied as a girl sees her rummaging through the trash. Astrid can't live any longer in this hopeless situation, so she takes the initiative and looks for a new foster care lady who should bring her to a better family. Astrid doesn't care about what is going to happen to the other girls, she just wants to get out of the house because she's at the end of her strength. The new foster care lady actually cares about what is going to happen to Astrid and really wants to find a good fitting family for her. After long talks with Astrid, the lady brings her to the house of a young couple called Claire and Ron.
Astrid gets introduced to her new foster mom, Claire. In this house, Astrid feels right away like home. Ron, her foster dad, is first not at home, because he's traveling around a lot for his work as a television producer. Astrid gets to know Claire really well, and they're getting really close. For this time, Astrid finds happiness which seems impossibly perfect to her. Claire is very interested in Astrid and wants that she's completely comfortable. Astrid experiences for the first time in her life that someone is asking her what she likes. Astrid realized that she has never been thinking about what she likes because she always only took what she has gotten, if she liked it or not. With Claire, she figures out what her favorite food is or her favorite color. Claire is also supporting Astrid in her greatest passion, the art. Astrid is also getting special help at school, and she achieves to be on the honor roll. As Ron returns from his travels, Astrid wishes he would stay away and leaves her and Claire live the perfect way they have been living in the time Ron was gone. Astrid is jealous of Ron, then she wants Claire for herself. Astrid is living for a while a pretty perfect life and is very happy in her foster family. But Claire starts to get unhappy. Then she's not getting any job as an actress anymore, and Ron is gone very often for his work. Due to the lack of Ron's attention and the failure in her career, Claire starts to have more and more doubts about herself. Claire once talks with Astrid about how she would kill herself if she would do so. At the same time, Ingrid starts to get in contact with Claire. She's jealous and thinks Claire is a bad influence on Astrid, then she's totally different than Ingrid herself. Claire is weak, fragile, and for sure not independent, where Ingrid, on the other hand, is dominating, independent, and a really strong woman. Astrid wants to forbid Ingrid the contact to Claire, then she knows how convenient her mom is. Ingrid admitted Astrid suspicious and tells her that she will do everything to get Claire out of Astrid's life. In Ingrid's opinion, Claire can't teach Astrid anything but how to fail in life. Astrid can't prohibit that Ingrid keeps sending letters to Claire, which manipulate her. On Christmas, when Ron is getting again called into work, Claire falls totally apart and commits suicide. Astrid finds Claire the next morning dead in her bed. The loss is a shock for Astrid, but not a surprise. Then she knew how fragile Claire was. To die is a redemption for Claire from her suffering. Astrid knows that the actual reason why she lived at Ron and Claire's house was that she had to look after Claire. Then Ron knew about Claire's mental problems, and Astrid should help Claire to not feel alone and enjoy her life again. Ron tells Astrid that she could still stay at their house, but that would be heartbreaking for Astrid. Then everything in the house reminds her on Claire. Astrid gets put into the McLaren Children's Center, short Mac. She's in a lot of pain, so she cuts her hair because she doesn't want to be beautiful anymore, and wants to show in her look the pain she has inside. At Mac, she meets Paul. Paul draws comics. Him and Astrid are getting really close. They both understand each other well. Because they are both in the same situation, they don't have any parents anymore, and they share both the passion of art. The foster care is still looking for a new foster family for Astrid. Astrid has some interviews with potential foster families. Even though one of those families is really nice, Astrid doesn't want to go with them. She thinks when she would go with them, her life would be normal and good, and she would forget about her past and about Claire, about Ray and about the pain she has gone through. Rather going with a good family, Astrid chooses to go with a Russian lady called Rena. Astrid says goodbye to her boyfriend Paul, but they want to stay in contact. Rena is a selfish, rough, ambitious, greedy, and tough businesswoman, and she doesn't have any compassion at all. She makes Astrid to sell all her clothes and belongings she got from Claire. Rena shows Astrid the importance of money and how to make money. With the two other girls in the house of Rena, Astrid does all kind of work to get money. Then Rena wants to get paid for the services she does, letting the girls stay in the house and feed the girls. Astrid starts an affair with the way older Sergei, the boyfriend of Rena, but Astrid still thinks a lot about Paul. Astrid is waiting to turn 18, then she will be free and can leave Rena and go away wherever she wants. One day, two girls visit Astrid. They have been spending time with Ingrid and want Astrid now to go with them. Even though they are shocked about Astrid's look. Then Astrid colored her hair dark and got piercings all over. She also smokes and looks like a punk. Astrid knows that her mother is using those girls to get admiration, since Astrid stopped the contact to her mother. Her mother has been writing a book about her innocence. A lawyer starts contacting Astrid because Ingrid wants to get out of prison. Astrid should testify in court that her mother didn't kill Barry. Astrid doesn't want to know anything about this and denies any contact with her mother nor the lawyer. But one of the girls at Rena's home remind Astrid on Annie. Astrid can't see her face but doesn't know who Annie is. Finally, she agrees to help her mother under one circumstance. Ingrid has to tell Astrid everything she has been holding back from her since she was born. When Astrid visits Ingrid, Ingrid thinks Astrid is coming back for her, although she is shocked to see how Astrid has changed. Ingrid realizes quick that Astrid is only coming back because she wants to have her information. Through Ingrid, Astrid finds out that her mother left her as a little child. One year, Ingrid was gone and left Astrid by their neighbor Annie. Astrid is shocked what her mother did. She tells her mother she will do her part of the deal and lie for her in court, but she wants Ingrid to let her go. Ingrid understands and tells her not to lie for her in court and let Astrid go her own way. Years later, Astrid moved to Berlin with Paul. She's studying in art. They are really broke, but Astrid is happy that she's living with the right man. But in cold evenings, when she's thinking back when she was together with her mom, Astrid misses the time with her mom, and deep inside, she wants to go back to LA, but she will never leave Paul because she knows how it is to be left behind.
Let's come to the analysis of the book. First of all, we would like to talk about the relation between Ingrid and Astrid. At the beginning, Ingrid was the only person in Astrid's life. She admired her mother for everything she did without putting it into question. But when Ingrid goes to prison, Astrid discovers other life aspects like the belief in God, her own beauty, sexual satisfaction, her will to survive, selfish own thinking. Even though Ingrid forbids Astrid things like the affair with Ray or to believe in God, Astrid goes her own way. Throughout the book, Astrid also finds out that her mother not always wants the best for her, especially when Ingrid wants to separate Astrid from Claire without even considering the will of Astrid. This is a key situation in the book concerning the relationship between Ingrid and Astrid, because here it is the first time that Astrid starts hating her mom for her selfishness. Even though Astrid already knew before how controlling her mom was, she was still a role model for her, and she would never tell her right away that she thinks that Ingrid is totally wrong in what she says. But after the thing with Claire, Astrid realizes that Ingrid doesn't want only the best for her, but rather wants Astrid to be like her, no matter if Astrid is happy with that or not. Then Astrid stops the contact with Ingrid till Ingrid wants Astrid's help to get out of prison. Here you can see that Astrid has also learned from her mother and she knows what to do to get what she wants. Astrid wants information from Ingrid, and in return she would lie for her in court. The relationship between mother and daughter is only used to achieve Astrid's goal, even though Ingrid thinks that Astrid wants to really help her at first. In the talk with Ingrid, Astrid really gets a little weak, and you can see that her mother is still important to Astrid. This upcoming sympathy goes right away as Ingrid tells Astrid that she had left her for a whole year when she was a baby. After this fact, Astrid is totally done with her mom and just wants to leave her alone. At the end, years later, Astrid realizes though that nobody can replace the bond between a mother and her child. She would like to have again contact with her mom and go back to LA, but on the other hand, she doesn't want to leave Paul because she knows exactly how it is to be left behind.
Now I want to talk about Astrid and her personality changes through the book. First, Astrid is this little good girl without own opinions. In the first family, she turns into this Baptist Christian girl, whereupon she changed dramatically to a self-centered, arrogant person who takes whatever she wants. After Astrid gets shot, she starts abusing drugs and is looking for compassion and things to numb her physical as well as her emotional pain. She's trying to escape reality. Olivia also shows Astrid the high society life and how nice it is to have money and that you can spend the money on everything you like. When Astrid meets Olivia, the reader can see how extremely Astrid needs a person in her life who cares about her. Astrid is getting so fast connected to Olivia and thinks just after a little time that Olivia is the most important person in her life and she can't be without Olivia anymore. On the other hand, at Amelia's house, Astrid learns how to survive on her own. She gets this survival instinct. As you can see, as she starts eating out of the garbage can, or as she can't detect another foster care lady that she gets out of this situation. Totally different Astrid becomes in the time when she lives at Claire's. Here Astrid values school and her future. She wants to have a good future and study art. Astrid gets to know herself better. She discovers what she likes and what she doesn't like. Before in her life, she could never focus on herself and just always ate, drank, or did whatever she was told to. Astrid discovers how it is to be loved and really cared about. At this point, Astrid also gets kind of her father complex. Then Astrid has an attraction to Ron, but she values the relation to Claire more than her sexual attractiveness to Ron, and she doesn't start an affair with him. At Mac, Astrid is changing dramatically. Then after Claire's death, Astrid doesn't want to feel anything anymore besides pain. Then all the pain she has experienced in her life comes down on her at once, and it's just overwhelming for her. Astrid doesn't want to feel happy anymore, she just wants to feel the pain. Then Claire meant too much to her. To be beautiful is not any importance to her anymore. Astrid just wants to feel the pain and show the pain to everybody else. At Rena's, Astrid is learning how to make money and how to be unscrupulous, direct and tough. Astrid becomes a junkie. At the end, the reader still can see that Astrid just turned out fine. She's now studying art, and she lives with Paul, and has a okay life. You can see that all the values she had learned from the different people she met in her life, she had pulled together, and she owns now them all to a certain part.
Now what about the book? Would we recommend it? Did we enjoy reading it? Well, to come to a conclusion for that, I must say that it was really hard to read the book and it took us a long time because the book is just so complex and you need to focus on every little detail to get the whole story, and every little detail is really important to characterize Astrid's personality, and even then you can't feel with her, you can't understand what is going on inside her because it's just such a different situation to our daily life situation, and she goes through so many different phases that her personality changes every few pages, and that's just really hard to stay focused on, I think.
Because the book is so complex, our summary also got that long. Because you really need a lot of details to understand the whole book and the situation Astrid is in. I would not recommend the book, but you really need to like really complex books and with a lot of psychological aspects in it.
This was another episode of the Book Club. Today we talked about the international bestseller White Oleander, written by Janet Fitch. For the next episode of the Book Club, like and subscribe. See you guys!